field trips that happens out of your house. So I would do my live today outside. It is a little bit windy, but it is a gorgeous day in Northeast Florida. I hope that it's a nice day where you are. Even if the weather's bad, it is Friday, so that's a plus, right? I'm Lisa, one of your mentors, and I was going to talk to you a little bit today about field trips. A lot of times that is a tricky subject when you're the homeschool mom, because you think maybe you can't do field trips because you're not a school. Well, I want to tell you that you absolutely can do field trips, and I wanted to give you some ideas and things that you could do to make your field trips memorable, as well as related to your schoolwork. I don't know if you know this, but in your Sonlight downloads, there is a great, I never can tell which way to move this, a great field trip planning sheet that you can download as many as you'd like. This will help you as you start to think about field trips. It has you do a little work before you go on the field trip, like what is the point of your field trip? What do you want to do there? What's the purpose? And what's your goals? It also reminds you to talk about behavior on field trips. Remember that you are representing your family, you're representing homeschoolers, what does the public think about homeschoolers, and you're representing Christ. So we want to make sure that we are talking about behavior. It also suggests reading a book, or maybe you can go online and look at where you're going before you get there. Let your children know what to expect. And don't forget your camera, your lunch, anything like that you might need. Now, it's not on this sheet, but our family had field trip shirts. They just had the name of our school. I happened to have an embroidery machine when I was homeschooling, so I made them. Our co-op also had field trip shirts, but even if you don't have an official shirt, just dress everyone in the or something like that, so that you can keep up with everyone. That was always one of my greatest fears, was that I would lose one of my children. Then after you go on the field trip planning guide walks you through some questions to think about for that. So did you achieve the purpose that you set out for your field trip? Did you learn something? And what was your child or children's favorite part? It also talks about some ways that you can follow up. So I'm going to hold off on that because I want to talk about some things that you could do. And I made a long list just sitting down thinking about some things that we did. You can take a field trip to a museum, to a farm, or there's a horse ranch in my town that field trips are really fun in the fall. You can go see the symphony, the orchestra. One of our favorite field trips when my girls were little was going to see the Nutcracker Ballet. My town has a pretty large Nutcracker, and they allowed schools to come and watch the dress rehearsal. If you belong to a school, you usually paid $10 and you could see either the first act and leave at intermission, or the second act to get there after intermission. But they let homeschoolers pay $10 to see the entire performance. It was exactly like what would be put on at night for $50, $60, $70 or more dollars. So that was always fun. The zoo is a great place to take a field trip, not just going to the zoo, but they may have some kind of educational experience that you can participate in. You can go to the fire station or the police station. Maybe there's some points of interest around your town. I live near St. Augustine, Florida, and we often took field trips there. There are lots of attractions that you can do there. Another fun field trip that we took was, there's a robotics company in my town. So find out if there's some industry in your town that you can visit. Again, they're used to having school children there, so grab you a group of friends and go be a school. We also toured the grocery store When my kids were little, they thought that was really cool. We looked in the bakery, we looked in behind the scenes at the deli and saw all the vegetables in the warehouse before they got put on the shelves, fun stuff like that. Or restaurant. I know our local Chick-fil-A has school tours. We one time saw a traveling Egyptian exhibit. We saw a mummy and things like that, so be aware of what's traveling. We also one time went to a medieval fair in a college town. We did not dress up like knights and ladies, but a lot of people there were dressed up, and that was really fun. So those are some ideas. Theme parks. We one time went to SeaWorld, and not only did we get to have fun, but there was an educational portion as well. We also did that at Legoland one time. So Google what's available in your area, talk to other homeschoolers, but don't be intimidated by the fact that you're just one family. Again, you can grab some friends, ask for a homeschool rate, find out how many kids you need to qualify for a group discount. Don't forget reciprocal memberships to things you're already a member of. That would be a great place. And then the ultimate homeschool field trip would be if you were traveling somewhere. If you're going to travel to Boston, go to the Freedom Trail or something like that. Even if you're traveling for something else, you can always take a field trip for that. Some things that you can do after your field trip. A thank you note to someone who coordinated or helped you coordinate is always a nice touch and reflects well on not just you, but on the homeschooling community in general. For your kids, if they're small, they might draw a picture of their favorite thing. If they're older, you might have them write a paragraph about something that they learned or that they enjoyed. Or they might do an oral report. Maybe dad didn't get to go, so after dinner, they may want to share your experience that way. Document that. We have that great memory book that Sonlight provides. You can buy it, sometimes it's free, but it's a great way to document your year and definitely document your field trips. Someone did ask on the post about how often should you take a field trip. And there is no right or wrong answer to that. You can take as many field trips or as little field trips as you'd like. Field trips were out of my comfort zone. I'm an introvert, and so I liked being at my house, but my children enjoyed going out. So we generally went once a month. Our co-op had a field trip once a month. After we got older, there was a new person that came into our co-op as the field trip coordinator, and I think she was an unschooler, so she went on field trips like every other day, and she was always looking for people to go with her. So you can go on as many or as little field trips as you would like. We have a question about what my favorite field trip that I did was, and that is a really hard question. We did go to Legoland when it first opened, and I was fascinated not with Legos because I hate them, step on them all the time, but the things that they made with Legos and the amount of time that it took them. Like there was a whole life-size Chevy Blazer or some kind of big car like that made out of Legos, and it weighed way more than a regular car, and they told how many Legos were involved and how many people and all that. That was pretty interesting to me as the numbers girl that I am. But we did lots and lots of fun field trips, so that was one fun one, and our dad got to go with us that time, so that also made it fun. Sometimes people ask, can a field trip count as school? And that answer is absolutely yes. You are learning, and you can learn anywhere. That doesn't mean that your field trip can't be fun. We often strung two things together. We would go learn about something and then go have lunch in a park and play with friends. Or we went to Marineland one time, and so after we finished all of that, we stopped and had a picnic at the beach. So it does count as school for sure, especially if you follow the field trip guide and you do that preparation work, and then you go on the field trip and then you do some follow-up. what's not to be school about that. But even if you don't, sometimes you just might want to go do something just for the sake of doing it, and the experience and the learning that can happen there, but not require your kids to do all the extra things, and that's okay too. It still counts for school. If you live in a state that highly regulates your attendance, I definitely recommend you fill out your field trip guide planning sheet so that you can show that it was educational. I don't live in a place that requires attendance, so I don't think that would be as important here. We did fill it out just to document, again, our year and whatnot. So take your field trip. October is often a time, we've been schooling for a while, and it's still a month till Thanksgiving, and sometimes people are getting a little restless and whatnot. So find a good field trip to take in the next few weeks. And when you do, post a picture on the site so everyone can see the fun that you had. Thanks for hanging out with me. It wasn't weird at all with my neighbors looking at me asking what I was doing, but it was fun to chat with you today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great weekend.